Mr. President, I thank the chairman. I rise today to speak briefly in support of Senate Budget Resolution and 4 amendments that I'll be offering. I believe these amendments will improve the underlying budget resolution, and they deserve broad support. First, Udall Amendment number 192 addresses the need to increase access to care for rural veterans. Many of these veterans, including those in New Mexico, travel long distances between their homes and Veterans Administration medical centers. Many other states have rural veterans that face the same challenges. I'm glad to be joined by Senator Moran from Kansas as a co-sponsor of this bipartisan amendment. Expanding access to health care in rural areas helps our veterans get the care they need. They kept their promise to us. We should keep our promise to them. The second Udall Amendment, number 311, would ensure that the 113th Congress can strengthen the reform, the National Nuclear Security Administration. During the past decade, NNSA has shown repeated failures in managing and planning projects. The result is costly overruns, deferrals, and in some cases, security lapses. These failures are not only a threat to our national security, they pose threats to the safety of the scientists, engineers, and other workers employed at the national labs. I co-sponsored an amendment to the 2013 Defense Authorization Act with Senator Kyle to form an advisory panel and to take a look at this, to make bipartisan recommendations to improve the governance structure of the NNSA. It is vital that necessary reforms will be completed. The third Udall Amendment to lay the foundation is for future hard rock mining reform in the 113th Congress. I have just filed this amendment, so it does not yet have a number. We should correct a long-standing fiscal loophole and establish a royalty on hard rock minerals mined on federal lands. Since 1872, the federal government has literally been giving away our gold, silver, uranium, and other hard rock minerals, handing over these public resources for free. A royalty is long overdue. It could be used for the reclamation of thousands of abandoned hard rock mines across the country, as well as for budget deficit reduction. Oil and gas and coal all pay federal royalties when extracted from federal land. All other developed nations apply royalties to hard rock minerals. This amendment does not prejudge what type of royalty Congress might agree on. The mining industry supports one type of royalty. We have worked with Chairman Wyden, Ranking Member Murkowski, and Majority Leader Reid on the text of this amendment, and I hope it is acceptable to a broad range of the Senate. Lastly, I've also filed an amendment to allow for full funding of the Impact Aid program. This program is one of the oldest federal elementary and secondary education programs, going back 63 years. Impact Aid supports school districts that lose local revenue, such as property taxes, when educating pupils who live on federal lands, such as military bases and Indian reservations. Impact Aid funding has been flat for many years, but the costs of education have gone up slightly and significantly, shortchanging many Indian communities. I'm pleased to be joined on this amendment by Senator Baucus of Montana, who faces many of the same issues with this as we do in New Mexico and throughout the West. And finally, let me thank our chairman, Chairman Murray, for the work on this budget. She has shown real courage and leadership on this budget, pulled together a very diverse committee. I think this is a budget bill is good for the middle class, and it's going to be fair and a fair and sensible budget. The budget is critically important to my state of New Mexico. It replaces the devastating sequester cuts with a balanced approach that will save thousands of jobs in my state. At home in New Mexico, sequestration is not just another political issue, it's a bread and butter issue for our family budgets. Smaller paychecks, lost contracts, real economic harm. Not only does the Senate budget resolution put a stop to the sequester, it also helps rebuild our economy with $100 billion for jobs and infrastructure investment. It will help spur job creation and rebuild the outdated infrastructure American businesses depend on. I urge my colleagues to support my amendments and support this budget.